Ramsay's boots were filled with icy water, and the howling winds drove sheets of stinging spray across his face as he struggled to keep his grip on the helm. He was fairly certain that the next wave was either going to capsize them or completely splinter their ship to matchwood. This, he thought with satisfaction, is what being a pirate is all about. Wrenching at the ship's wheel with an effort that made his aching arms scream in protest, Ramsay leaned forward to bellow an order to his crew below. He might as well have been whispering, for the storm snatched at his commands and carried them away. No matter. Each of the crew was an experienced sailor, and the last few days, sailing through what felt like literal hell, had taught them to anticipate each other's actions. For now, they would work without words. Ramsay squinted through the darkness and the rain to make out Rathbone and Mercia moving in tandem. They had lashed ropes to the railings and tied them securely around their waists as they wrestled with the sails, desperately seeking the ever-shifting balance that would keep the ship darting between the waves without the sails being torn to shreds. Behind them, a flash of lightning illuminated Shan as he staggered up to the prow. He held a battered bucket in his hands and began emptying its contents overboard, bailing away rainwater that had trickled down into the lower decks. Those three pirates, along with Ramsay, represented the entire complement of the Magpie's Wing, the tiny ship he'd commissioned especially for this voyage. His friends and rivals had scoffed at the idea of setting sail with such a tiny crew, least of all into the Devil's Shroud. But that was precisely why they'd failed, where Ramsay had succeeded. The Devil's Shroud. Every pirate grew to know its name, even if they preyed upon waters 100 miles or more from that cursed region. Ramsay had never been a superstitious man, but you didn't have to believe in undersea gods or arcane rituals to experience the fog's effects for yourself, and learn swiftly that it was a very real threat indeed. The shroud ebbed and flowed across a vast region of the sea, writhing like a living thing. Unwary ships could easily be drawn into its fringes, even if they'd sailed that route without incident for years. Any vessel that did slip its course and find itself in those strange ethereal clouds would soon realize it, for its crew would begin to taste an odd tang upon the air, not quite sour and not quite rotten, but cloying on the tongue and in the back of the throat. It was like trying to take a deep gulp of black treacle, Ramsay mused, but a treacle that soon began to burn cold like a hand held too long in ice. Masks and scarves across the face would do nothing to help, and before long, once able seamen would be coughing and spluttering, choking on the very air around them. Often, they'd be so overcome that they wouldn't realize their ship was dying too. Whatever fell curse the region inflicted upon people foolish enough to enter it would also work its will upon wood and metal. Beams would begin to split and twist, buckling and warping the planks that made up the ship's hull. The nails that held them in place would start to rust away to a fine red powder. The beleaguered crew would be fighting a losing battle against an onslaught of leaks and breaches as murky water poured in below decks, new ruptures appearing faster than the old ones could be bunged or repaired. Yes, any seafarer with a promising career and a decent life expectancy soon learned not to sneer at the existence or the threat of the Devil's Shroud.